I believe my screen is visible to you now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in the last class, today I thought of starting the third module. But before that, I thought of teaching you one more problem in productivity, just as a revision of what we learned in the last class. So uh, just look at the slide. It's just basic understanding. Just let's first listen to the discussion. Then, if you have any doubt, we can start. Okay. So if you I think it started recording. Okay. Okay. So just look at this problem. This is a problem given to you. In your examination, only this kind of problems you can expect. Like there will be big data given to you, and you will be asked to find a different productivities like single factor productivity, multi-factor productivity, and total productivity. The three types of productivity they will ask you to calculate by giving a set of data. So this is the set of data in this problem. The output data is given. Okay, the output data is given as the first a the first whatever you look here in blue color. If you go to see my cursor, you could find this. So here they given this the output, that is the finished goods product. We all know that productivity is output by input. So here the first all the output data is given to you in this table in this problem. So output is what? Finished goods products, right? So there are 2200 in numbers, and work in progress is 1600. Price per unit is 1200. Okay, what is this work in process, right? This work in process is the items which are under production, or which has to undergo for which the manufacturing activity is not completed, or the activity the value addition activity is not completed fully. So that we call as work in process, or it's like waiting in a queue. Okay, it's waiting in a queue to get completed. So let's assume that. So we always buy only the finished products. As a customer, we always buy the finished products. So in this case, if work in process is given to you, you can avoid that. So in this case, what is the actual output? It's only 2200, and the price of one unit of the product is 1200. Okay, so in case of input, the skilled labor hours is 1200, and their salary is 70 rupees per hour. There are the unskilled labor hours. They didn't mention about the number of labors, but they mentioned the total labor hours. The total labor hours here is 8000, and the wage paid for them per hour is 40 rupees. But when you are considering the labor input, both skilled labor and unskilled labor, or any for that matter any number of any classification of labors, everyone has now worked together to produce produce this product. So both skilled labor and unskilled labor, they have both contributed in developing this product, in manufacturing this product. That's why we have to consider all both skilled labor and unskilled labor into this calculation. Next, we have materials, the one which is highlighted in yellow in color here, materials. So here they have used around 18 tons of raw material, and the cost of 1 ton is given as 1600. Okay, I hope you can read the slides. The cost of the material is 1600, and they have used around 18 tons of material. Okay, so and the plant is the plant total plant worked hours. That means the machine. Okay, the machine productivity. Here you're speaking about the machine. So the plant has worked for 2400 hours, and per hour they have paid around. It's estimated that they are paying around 650 rupees. Okay, so 2400 machine hours, and per hour they are paying 650 rupees. Then the energy inputs. In case of energy, the company uses here in this case the company has used around three types of energy inputs. One is oil. Oil they use around 3000 liters, and per liter they have paid 6 rupees. And coal, they have burnt around 150 tons of coal, and the cost of the coal is 1800 per ton. They have consumed around 18,000 kilowatt of energy, but the rate of the electricity per kilowatt hour is 3. Okay, so now this is the input given to you. You have any doubt in this input?
No, sir.
Okay, so only in the out, yeah, good. So in the output part, you should avoid considering work in process. So this is a little bit of confusion where you will get whether to consider work in process or not, because in this case we are avoiding. Actually, work in process can be considered, but there are the complication will get a bit confused. So to keep it simple, we have decided we will avoid considering work in process. If work in process is given to you, please avoid that, and the rest of the data you can calculate. And in case of labors, there are in this case there are only two kind of labors: skilled labor and unskilled labor. You have to consider them together. So now in this problem, what they're asking you to calculate the labor productivity, the material productivity, the machine productivity. Here the machine productivity means the total plant work, the total plant hour. That means the machine, how many hours the machines have functioned. Then energy productivity. So the four inputs are only given. So they're asking you to find the individual, that means single factor productivity of all these factors. Then as a whole, what is the total productivity? So let's see how to do this problem. So in this problem, I worked out the calculations here. So you know that single factor productivity is total output divided by input of the individual factor. So in this case, the first case is labor productivity. So the labor data is given to you here. If you could find here, the total output is what? 2200 into 1200, because 2200 components were produced and only the cost price of the one component is 1200. So 2200 into 1200. Okay, and labor productivity is how much? You have to consider, as I told you, we are going to consider both skilled labor and unskilled labor, and if any other data is also given, you have to consider that also. So in this case, only we are going to consider 1200 into 70 plus 8000 into 40. So you are getting 6.534. The calculation may be wrong. If you could work out and please help me, I can correct it now itself. Okay, so this is how we have to calculate the labor productivity. Are you able to understand? Because we know that output by input. So in this case, we are considering only labor productivity. So I'm taking the output as the number of products produced. But in this case, all data are given in cost. So for uniformity, I'm converting everything into cost data. So 2200 into 1200 divided by the labors, 1200 into 70 plus 8000 into 40. So I'll be getting 6.534. Are you able to understand this step, this first calculation?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So the next case we are going to look into called as material productivity. Here it's very simple. Again, the same output, that is 1200 into 2200 divided by, here the cost, they have used 18 tons. They have used 18 tons, and for the 18 tons, the cost of the 1 ton is 1600. So for 18 tons, tons we are calculating, and I'm getting the material productivity as 91.666. You can check this calculation. And the machine productivity is this. So again, the output divided by 2400 into 650. So 650 is what the per hour, how much they have paid. So the totally the machine, all the machines are worked for 2400 hours, and per hour for the machine, their machining cost is 650 rupees. So that I have calculated, and the machine productivity I have calculated as 1.692. Same way for energy, I have three categories here: oil used, coal, electricity. For oil, it is 3000 into 600, and for coal, it's 150 into 1800, and for electricity, it is 18,000 into 3. So if I do this calculation, I'm getting 7.719. Okay, so I believe you got, you understood how to calculate single factor productivity from the set of, yeah.
Sir, in the output section, what is the work in process thing which you explained? Can you tell that again?
Yeah, I'll repeat it, because normally what happens is customers will be paying only for the product which is full. Work in process is the item is under manufacturing. Work in process means it's under manufacturing. It's under manufacturing. It's in waiting in queue to get the process completed. Okay, so sometimes after completing this problem, I'll discuss you how to consider work in progress. Okay, so the next is I hope I answered your question and you're clear with that.
Yes,
Should
sir.
I
Yes,
repeat?
sir. No, sir. It's fine.
Okay, thank you. So next we'll see how to calculate total factor productivity. Total factor productivity is again output divided by input of all factors. So what I'm doing, I'm calculating all the inputs. So whatever I had in the denominator, I have calculated this denominator values and I have put it here because we know it's output divided by all input factors. So it is going to be what? 1200 into 70 plus 8000 into 40 plus 18 into 1600 plus 240 into 650 plus 3000 into 6 plus 150 into 1800 plus 18,000 into 3. So if I do all this multiplications, I will get this sum. So after calculating this, I have found out the total productivity as 1.1307. Only difference is in total productivity, we will consider all the input parameters and output parameters. Output divided by all input parameters or all input of all factors. In this case, the data set is available for 4 factors. So we have included only 4 values. If sometimes they may give us miscellaneous expenses or other overheads. So if they are giving those data also, we can consider this. Okay. Should I think you are able to understand how you calculate a total factor productivity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think this problem is also easy for you. Okay, so let us discuss about how to go with this work in process. Okay, so see, normally what happens is that take an example. Let's take the example of a real estate. In real estate, what happens? The people will sometimes buy the house which is partially completed. Okay, due to some bank loan, the seller may be selling it due to some emergency or something like that. So in that case, the buyer may buy a house which is partially completed or which is under construction. So those things we can calculate as work in process. But what should be given if work in process is given to you in the problem? They should also give you what will be the price of this work in process item, like how much of the total, how much percentage of the total price, how much percentage, listen to me, how much percentage of the total price should be given, should be considered for work in process. Say for example, if a product is costing, the actual cost of the product is 100 rupees, and they should give you that for work in process items you can pay 40 rupees or 50 rupees. That means 50% of the original value should be considered for calculating the cost of the work in process. If something is given like that, say take 2% of the original value or 5% of the original value or 50% of the original value, 60% of the original value for work in process items like that, the statement should be there. Only if it is given like that, you should consider. But in this case, they are given the finished goods produced is 2200 numbers and the price per unit is only given. They didn't mention how much percentage of the price per unit should be considered for work in progress. I think I'm a bit confusing you, but if you could listen to me carefully, you can understand. Like the complete price of the one finished goods is 1200. If you want to consider the working process for 1600 items, they should give how much percentage of this original price. From this original price, how much should I consider for working in process? Say for example, let's say they are asking us to consider 50% for work in progress. What is 50% of 1200? What 50
600.
600. So that then what should I do in the when I'm going with all calculations in the output part, it will be to 2200 into 1200 plus 1600 into 600. In the output part, I should if the value the percentage of the original value is given, or sometimes directly they may given for the work in progress items products, consider this as the cost. If something data related to working cost data of work in process is given to you, then we will consider that. Otherwise, we are not going to consider that. Okay? Are you able to understand? Should I repeat?
Yes, yes, I can repeat it.
Please. It's confusing.
Yes, sir, can you repeat it one more time?
Yeah, I will repeat once again. So, are you clear with now what we did? Are
Sir,
you able to understand this too?
total productivity, I have the doubt.
Yeah, please. What's the doubt?
Calculation of total productivity.
Yeah, calculation of total productivity, the formula is output by input. Okay, but in total productivity or total factor productivity, we are considering input of all factors. Here in this case, I have 4 factors: labor, material, machine, and energy. Okay, so what I'm doing, I am say for example, I'll tell you how to calculate this 40,000. I mean 4 lakh for 40 lakh 4,000. How we got these values? It is 2,200 into 70 plus 8,000 into 40. If we calculate this, you will get this value. Okay, how we got this value? We consider all the labor inputs, that is skilled labor. They are working for 1,200 hours, and per hour we are paying 70 rupees. Same way, unskilled laborers are also working for 8,000 hours, and per hour we are paying 40,000. So this is the input for labor productivity. So I'm considering for the first factor, labor productivity, we got this value. Similarly, they're using 18 tons of material, and 1 ton they're paying 1,600 rupees. So if you multiply 18 into 1,600, you will get 28,800. Then mission productivity is same way. So I mean 2,400 into 650, you got this numbers. Then energy, individual factors, we have multiplied and we have put this value. I hope you understood now. Should I repeat again?
No, sir, understood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, next we will be discussing about work. Yes? Should I repeat?
No, sir.
Okay, so now let's like I was discussing about work in process, right? Work in process. So let's imagine. Let's again come back to a simple example. Cost of 1 chocolate is 10 rupees. Okay, the old mathematics way. The cost of 1 chocolate is 10 rupees. Okay, so the cost of 1 finished product is 10 rupees. That means, right? So I'm telling that there is a manufacturing process. I'm going to sell. I'm in an emergency situation, and I have to sell this chocolate for you, which is half prepared. Imagine a situation like that, half prepared, and I'm telling that you should pay. 40% of the original value for the work in process items. So how much you will pay? I'm repeating my question. The cost of one chocolate is 10 rupees. If you're not able to follow me, just listen to me carefully now. You will understand this. If work in process has to be considered, then they should give you how much percentage of the original value you should consider. If not, they should give you the exact value of work in process item directly. So let's discuss with the example. Consider cost of 1 chocolate is 10 rupees, and the company decides to sell all its products immediately due to some situation, and they're telling that for the half finished chocolates, or some chocolates are in off way, like they're under production. So they're telling that you can pay 40% of the original value of the chocolate. The original value of the chocolate is 10 rupees. So 40% of the original value of the chocolate is
4 rupees.
4 rupees. So in that case, imagine the company has 100 chocolates in work in process. 100 chocolates work in process. 100 units of chocolates are work in process. So what will be the total output?
400 rupees.
400.
1400.
How you got that 400 rupees?
400.
How you got that?
Sir, 100 into 4.
100 into 4. Same way, in this problem, for example, if they given that you should consider for work in process, consider 50% of the original value. Here, the original value is how much?
1200, sir.
1200. 50% of 1200 is
600.
600. So what will be the output now for work in process?
1206.
1200 in
like
1000?
like 1600 into 600.
1600 into 600. Very good. So when I am considering here the total output, the calculation should include work in process also. That means it will be 2200 for the completely finished product. For the completely finished product, the cost of one product is 1200 plus the number of work in process item is 1600, and I told you to consider 50% of the original value. 50% of the original value is 600, so it will be 1600 into 600. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
then that will be the output for all the individual factors as well as the total output. Okay, I hope you understand that. Give me yes or no. Are you able to understand?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, I understood.
Yes, sir.
So with that, we are completing this third module. Okay, first module we have completed and third module we have completed. And now let's move back to the let's go to the second module. Okay, good. So second, we are going to go into the second module. Second module for you is called as costing. Okay, so in this chapter, in this module, we will be covering the elements of cost, determination of material cost, labor cost, expenses, types of cost, cost of production, overhead expenses, break-even analysis, and we'll do a few problems also. We are going to do around like six to seven problems we'll be doing in this module. Okay, so let's go one by one. Basically cost. Okay, so when I say cost, how we should know how the cost of your product is determined, correct? How the cost of the product is determined. So to understand that, we should know what are the elements of cost. Elements means what are the subdivisions of costing. Okay, can now anyone answer me like how the cost of the product is determined? How the cost of the product is determined?
So by its demand.
By its demand. What I'm asking is, you are manufacturing a product. Okay, let me put my question again clearly. You told that cost of the product is determined by the demand. I accept that. Let me reframe the question. You are manufacturing a product. How will you fix the cost of the product?
Sir,
By
based on
profit
the
margin
money spent
and
on the inputs.
cost of raw material.
Production charges and plus marginal profit.
Marginal profit, running cost, all these things are there. So now we are, my job is now made easy. Are you able to look into my slides now?
So the problem 3 slide is visible. Productivity problem 3.
Okay. Sorry, I have to share this. Okay. Now it's visible.
No,
Okay,
sir, still the same.
Sir, again the same.
module.
Yes, sir. Now it's
Okay, I guess now it's
Yes.
visible. Okay, good.
yes.
Thank you. Okay. So that is what we are going to look at. So as you told, the cost of the product will be determined by the elements of cost or the subdivisions of cost. We are going to look into one by one. Few you have already known. Few things let me introduce to you. My job will be easy in this module. Okay. First, if I'm manufacturing a chair. Okay, that's the example. What I took is manufacturing a chair. Here, I'm going to tell the cost of the chair will be calculated or determined by the cost of the raw material, how much wages I have paid to the labor charges, and what are the overhead charges. You should understand this that overhead. Overhead means in excess to the cost we are paying something extra like building the facility or making the other facilities available to manufacture a chair. Okay, let me put it in other way. You are an engineering student now. For you, if you consider the cost spent on books, cost spent on laptops, I can consider that is one cost running. I mean, that is the cost what if I'm running a university. The cost spent on books and other things, infrastructure, all these things can put under the basic thing. Then labor cost, the cost whatever they are paying to the professors to teach you, that is the labor cost. It may include professors charges, it may include the non-teaching staff, everyone. Then overhead cost. Overhead cost is to run this process. They have to spend on electricity, they have to spend on internet and other facilities are there. So all these things will for telephone bill. You can think like this anything which is essential to run this business. So that is called as overhead cost. Okay, so now I think you are able to understand. In case of manufacturing a chair, the cost spent on the raw material, the cost spent on the labor wages, and the other things whichever you are arranging to run the business, that is called as overhead cost. Okay, say for example, there is a restaurant. The cost spent on vegetables and buying other grocery items is called as cost of raw materials. The salary paid to the chef and the servers in the or the waiters in the restaurant is called as labor cost. But what is the overhead cost in this case? The electricity bill, the current bill, the gas bill, whatever they pay to run the business, that is called as overhead cost. I hope you can understand now. Okay, are you able to understand the elements of cost?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I have introduced only three things. One is raw material cost, that is material cost, labor cost, and overhead cost. We have seen only three types of elements. Okay, again, like this, the cost can also be calculated based upon the nature of the product, the function of the product, the behavior of the product. Okay, then like this association with other products, controllability, normality, time, relevance, and other costs. So sometimes time also determines, right? So like example, the Tatkal system. If you're in emergency, the cost of the ticket is high. Like how you buy the block tickets in theaters to watch your favorite heroes movie. So something like that. So sometimes the rate time depends on that. So let's don't go dive deep into this cost classification of cost. Rather, we'll go into the interesting part of the costing. Okay, so here how the cost is determined. Okay, to this according to the nature of elements, we are going to classify the cost again. So again, I told you it's going to be on material, labor, and expenses. These are the fundamentally cost can be. These are the natural elements of cost, or these are the elements of cost. Three fundamental elements. One is material, labor, and overhead charges. Okay, only based upon these three basic elements, manufacturing cost of any product or services will be determined. Material, labor, and expenses. Okay, it's very simple as it. You're constructing a house, the cost spent on buying bricks, cement, sand, gravel, wood, electrical pipelines, all these materials, whatever is required for construction, that we can consider as material cost. The cost paid to the laborers, the engineers to construct the house, that is called as labor cost. Then other than that, we may need water, we may need electricity, we may need other things whichever is essential to facilitate the construction of house, that we can call it as overhead charges or expenses. Okay, so I believe that you have understood this concept. So with that, now we are going to classify cost into in a detailed pattern. So if you observe this flow chart, what is available in your slide in front of you, you can understand that based upon our discussion, the cost can be classified into three types, fundamentally as material, labor, and other expenses. In material, labor, and expenses, again it is further classified as direct, indirect, direct, indirect, and direct, indirect. So everything is classified as direct and indirect for your understanding. And again, all indirect cost can be covered under four overheads. One is production overhead. Understand the terminologies: production overhead, administrative overhead, sales overhead, distribution overhead. Okay, just remember this terminologies. We will, when we are discussing each and everything, you will understand very clearly. Material, so basically cost is classified as material, labor, and expenses, and each of these three is further classified as direct and indirect. And all indirect cost can be calculated as production, administrative, sales, distribution overheads. Okay, so are you able to understand this classification? At least I believe you can have a picture of this in your mind, so that it will be easy for you to understand the other slides when we discuss. As you move on the slides, we will discuss what is what, so you will be able to understand if you would have a clear picture of this. So just remember elements of cost. I'm classifying it as three types: material, labor, and expenses. And each one, like material, labor, and expenses, are further classified as direct and indirect. And again, this indirect cost can be classified as production overhead, administrative overhead, service overhead, and distribution overhead. Okay, are able to have a picture, at least have a picture of, if you're not able to memorize, at least have a picture of this in your mind. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So now we will discuss one by one. So let's start with the material. First type. The first type is called as material cost. Material cost can be can be classified as direct material cost and indirect material cost. So in this case, if I say material, it denotes all the raw materials. Basically, immediately what comes to our mind is material cost, means the raw material cost. So the raw material to manufacture manufacturing a garment may be cotton, to manufacture a bag may be jute, to manufacture a steel structure, I mean structure can be an iron ore, to manufacture electronic component, to produce the wafers for circuits, it may be a silicon. Okay, so these are considered basically the raw materials. Whatever we are considering raw materials is considered as the material cost spent on buying these raw materials. We call it as material cost. Again, this cost, material cost, is classified as direct cost and indirect cost. Indirect cost means if I am spending for the materials which is required for manufacturing a product, then that is called as raw material cost. For example, if you are constructing a house and if the direct material cost is on buying a brick, a cement bag, sand, steel, rods, etc., etc. These are direct because these are very, very essential to build the product. So then that is called as direct material cost. For example, as I discussed, raw cotton, what is used in textiles, crude oil in making a diesel, steel to make automobile bodies. So these are the costs which is spent directly on the material, which is directly used in the manufacturing of the product. Okay, so that is direct material cost. If other than this, whatever I'm buying, other than the basic raw materials, if I'm buying anything extra, then they are called as indirect cost. For example, glue, thread, nails, printing, stationery materials, A4 paper bundles, printer cartridges. Okay, all these 10 printers, they can all come under indirect materials because I may need all these things to run the business, but they are not going to be actually put in the manufacturing of the product. Okay, so this is indirect material cost. Again, let's go back to the example of a restaurant. Okay, so if I buy vegetables, if I buy groceries required for manufacture for producing the food items, then that is a direct material cost. If I'm buying the other items like the utensils or the stove, all these things, if I'm buying that is they all come under indirect material cost. Okay, so like they're required like running the business, like you may have a card swiping machine, and all these things are indirect material cost. The table chairs, they all come under indirect material cost. Okay, so in case of a so this is the example. Hope you are able to understand this. If not, I will explain it again. Can anyone give me an example of direct material cost and the indirect material cost? One example for direct material and indirect.
So for direct material cost, it can be the sponges that are used for making cushion.
Okay.
Sir, wood to make furniture.
Okay, so that's the example what I gave you.
So like mobile phones materials are direct material cost, and the mobile cover which we buy is indirect material cost.
Exactly, you're right. The right example. The back cases or all other decorations what we do all comes under indirect material cost. Okay, very good. The screen guard, everything. That's the best example. Okay, now I believe that you understood the concept. Okay, so now let's move to indirect labor cost. Labor means the employees who are you are employing. The employer has employed some labors. Labor, there are different classifications: skilled labor, unskilled labor, technical, non-technical. Like this, you can classify any numbers. but labor means people who are employed to manufacture a product. Again, in case of uh, labors, we have direct labor and indirect labor. Direct labor are, say for example, in an educational institution like V8 University, all teaching faculties and lab attendants, non-teaching staffs, they all come under direct labor who are involved in conducting the classes and running the university. They are called as direct labors. In case of manufacturing a wooden furniture, as the example what you told, the carpenter who is involved in manufacturing the chairs, we call him as direct labor, because if in case of a construction activity, all labors, construction machines who are working there, we call them as direct labors. In case of a school, all teachers are direct labors. In case of a software company, all software employees can be called as direct labors who are involved in coding and other things. Okay, so now what is indirect labor? There are some labors who will support this, support the production activity indirectly, like in case of an industry or in case of a in case of a university like us, we can think about we have some janitors with us, we have some security guards with us, and we have some drivers with us, cab drivers, right? So these people are not directly involved in running the university, but still their role is very important in running the university. So if they are not there, our campuses will not be clean, our campuses will not be protected, and the we will have some difficulty in transportation. And we in our university we have a very well estate office. The people who are working in estate office, like maintenance activity, everything, they're maintaining the campus very well for us to run the business, to run the university. So that is called as indirect labor. They are all called as indirect labors. Okay. In case of software company, the security people, the people who are running the restaurant, they all come under indirect labor. Okay, so that is like they support the business from inside, but they are not directly involved in the manufacturing activity. So they are all called as indirect labors. Okay. So I hope you understand. So in this case of example, the operator who is operating the machine, or the one who is assembling the products, we can consider him as direct labor, and the supervisors, the storekeepers, the timekeepers, the office, the finance office people, the marketing people, they all comes under indirect labor, because they are not directly involved in manufacturing the product, but still their role is very important. Then again, in when I come to expenses, okay. So again, when I come to expenses, I can classify it as direct expenses and indirect expenses. Direct expenses, whatever I'm making on directly on material and direct labor. You understand this? Direct expenses means, you can note down somewhere. Direct expenses means the expenses made on direct labor. So you know that from the material cost only, you will know that direct material cost, and from the labor, you know, there are direct material, indirect material cost, direct labor, indirect labor. So in that, I'm considering only the direct material and direct labor cost. If I'm considering only the cost spent on direct labor and direct material, then that is called as direct expenses. Okay, so so they are expensive, but the other things, the other indirect labor and indirect labor cost will come under indirect expenses. Like for example, direct expenses is cost spent on making a layout, designing drawings, hiring of tools to run tools for the machines. Say for example, if I want to produce an automobile door panel, you require a tool, a forging, I mean the die, you require a right die, or in case of injection molding machine, as we used to tell always, we require a die to manufacture the product. Or these are the direct tooling cost. So they come under direct expenses. And maintenance cost. Maintenance costs also come under direct expenses, because that is very much essential to run the business. In the indirect expenses is something outside the business, right? Like you're paying the rent of the business, you're going to pay for the lights, you're going to pay the insurance charges, you're going to pay the water tax, all these things are come under indirect expenses. Okay, so I hope you can understand the direct expenses and indirect expenses. Indirect expenses means direct material and direct labor cost. Indirect expenses means the other things which the cost spent on other items which are helping you to run the business, or make the product, to manufacture the product. They are called as indirect expenses.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, so the wages of the indirect labor also fall under direct expenses?
No, again, it depends upon the, yeah, you are right. They fall under indirect expenses only.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I think I will stop here because I need a continuous class time to discuss about this overhead expenses again, because that is very essential. So after completing this overhead expenses in Wednesday's class, sorry, in Thursday's class, we'll complete the problems also. I'm going to post a quiz poll for you. You try to answer this question. Meanwhile, if there is any doubt, I can take that if I have any questions.
Sir,
Yeah,
will you be giving any numerical in MCQ form as well?
only numericals.
Okay, so if
Six-
you like
60 plus 60% it will be numerical only.
yes, sir. So if you ask for labor cost or material cost, then we don't have to find the utter details for that numerical. Just the answers, no long answers for this, right, sir?
Okay.
So we don't have to show you the computation of the numericals, right?
Please come again.
So we don't have to upload or show you the computation which we did to solve the numerical, right, in CAT 1.
You have to show. There will be a facility for you to upload the document where you have to upload the document by working out.
It's the handwritten, right?
Yeah, you will be making it as a single document only. I am planning to give it as a single document. You will make the calculations. You will take a photograph. You will convert it into PDF document and you will upload it.
Sir, everything
Okay.
has to be done in the 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And sir, portion will be module 1 and module 3.
Model 1, 2, 3.
2 also, sir, entire 2 module, second module.
Second module will be like whatever I complete till Friday.
Okay, sir.
Okay. By Friday, I will be able to complete at least till before break-even analysis. I will be able to complete. So after that, break-even analysis will be handled during the after Cat 1.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir,